The Duolingo English test is changing. Starting from July 1st of this year, there's going to be a new speaking question added to the exam, the one you can see right here, along with some other major updates. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what these changes are, show you some examples, and give you some tips on how you can prepare for this new version of the Duolingo English test. But very quickly before I start, if you are taking your test soon and would like 10% off your official Duolingo English test, you can by clicking the link somewhere down here in the video description or head into detready.com/discount. This is an exclusive discount just for you guys, so use it if you want to get 10% off. So let's start with the most important change, and that is that there's going to be a brand new speaking question added to the exam. It's called interactive speaking, and you can see it on the screen right here. This question type is different than the other speaking questions on the Duolingo English test because you will be having a conversation with one of the Duolingo characters. For the other speaking questions, it's more of a speech or a monologue. This new one is a conversation. That means this question type is going to test your listening and speaking, because when you have a conversation, you're not just speaking, you are also listening. Let's take a look at some of the key points of this new question type. You're going to have a conversation in real time with a Duolingo character, and the character is going to ask you between 6 and 8 questions for you to answer. When I took the Duolingo practice test, I was asked 8 questions on 2 topics. 4 questions on topic 1 and 4 questions on topic 2. So just be aware that you might be asked questions on more than one topic. And your job is to listen to the question and answer that question. It's also really important that you know that you can only listen to the question once. You can't replay it, or you can't ask the Duolingo character to repeat what he or she said. So keep that in mind. You have 35 seconds per answer to speak, and you're scored on fluency, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. So those are the key points. What do you think about this question type? Is it fun, exciting, scary, or hard? Write your answers below in the comments. Now I'm going to show you a full example of this new interactive speaking question with me answering the questions. This is a recording from the official practice test.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about conversation. Describe how you usually start a conversation with someone new.
So I am terrible at starting a conversation with someone new simply because I'm quite socially awkward and quite shy. However, if I have to start a conversation with someone new, I prefer to ask them about their hobbies rather than their job. Typically, people would start a new conversation with someone new by asking, what do you do? Like, what job do you have? But for me, I don't like asking that question, so I typically ask people what they enjoy doing or what they do in their free time. That's how I start conversations with someone new.
I see. I've got a different question. Tell me about someone you enjoy having conversations with.
So I really enjoy having conversations with my brother. The main reason is that, of course, we know each other extremely well, but not only that, we also have the same interests. We both like the same sports, the same activities, and the same kind of academic subjects. So we have a lot to talk about. It's also very easy to talk to him because he's a good listener and he has lots of information on the subjects that we enjoy to talk about. So that's fun, and yeah, he's the best person to speak to.
I see. Let me ask you another question. Discuss whether you think listening is as important as speaking in a conversation.
Yes, listening is absolutely as important as speaking in a conversation. A lot of people these days don't listen very well. They'd rather just speak or share their own opinions rather than listen to their conversational partner's opinions. Listening is so valuable because you learn so much more if you just stay quiet and listen, and you can gain some real insights into the person you're talking to if you take the time to listen to them.
I see. I have another question. Describe some challenges people face when having conversations in a new language.
Well, besides the obvious problem of speaking in a second language, which is really tricky, another major problem is cultural knowledge or background knowledge. For example, my wife, she is from Korea, but she lives here in the UK with me, and her English is amazing. It's so good. But she has a hard time having a conversation with British people, not because of the language, but because of the background knowledge that she's missing. She doesn't get the context about what is being said.
Thanks for talking about conversation with me. Now I'd like to change topics and ask you a few questions about audiobooks and books on tape. Do you think audiobooks are good for people who dislike reading? Why?
Yes, of course, they are very good for people who dislike reading, because if it was not for audiobooks, then these people would never read or never get the information from a written book. It also means that people who are very busy can listen to audiobooks and learn everything that's in the written version, but through audio, they can listen and learn while they are commuting or doing other aspects of their life. So yes, I think it's very good, especially for those who dislike reading.
Thanks. I've got a different question. Describe some situations where audiobooks might be more useful than printed books.
I mentioned a couple reasons in the previous answer, but for people who are very busy, then listening to an audiobook can be done while they are busy. So, for example, I used to commute to work and I would listen to audiobooks every single day on the commute. It was very difficult for me to read a book while commuting, so listening to the book was a great alternative, and I really enjoyed it too. I also enjoyed listening to the author when they read out their own work. I thought that was really nice.
Interesting. I have another question. In your opinion, what are some of the most popular genres of audiobooks? Why?
I think non-fiction audiobooks are by far more popular than fiction audiobooks. The reason is that fiction is really hard to follow through audio, in my opinion, and from talking to my friends. It's really difficult. It's just hard to grasp. Whereas non-fiction is totally fine. You can listen to a non-fiction audiobook, and I think is similar to reading it in terms of retention of ideas.
Okay, I've got a different question. How do audiobooks affect people's imagination compared to reading?
That's a good question, and to be honest, I don't really know. I've never really thought about it, but I would imagine that if you are reading, you are using more mental, I don't know how to express this, maybe more mental power. So that requires your imagination to be more active while reading. Whereas if you're just listening, you're much more passive in the process. Therefore, you do not need to use your imagination as much. But I don't really know. A tough question. Wow. Okay.
Thanks for talking about audiobooks and books on tape with me. Have a nice day.
And that's how I answered these questions. Now, if you would like to learn more about interactive speaking, then head over to vip.detready.com, because over the next few months, I'm going to be teaching lots of live lessons covering this question type, and I will be making a full course covering lots of strategies for you to ace this interactive speaking question. Okay, let's talk about the second major change, and that is the update to interactive listening. Interactive listening is the question type you can see on the screen right now. Originally, there were just two parts to this question type. Part one was the listening part, where you participated in a conversation, and part 2 was the writing part where you summarized the conversation. However, this will change and a new part will be added, and it's going to be called Listen and Complete. For this question type, you're going to be filling in the blanks to what you have heard, and the aim is to test your academic listening and vocabulary skills. Unfortunately, Duolingo haven't updated the official practice test yet or their official guide, so I'm not sure exactly how this is going to look, but stay tuned and subscribe to this channel because I will update you as soon as I know more. Okay, let's move on to the third major update, and this is all about the removal of certain question types. So let's start with speaking. Listen, then speak. This question right here will no longer be on the exam from July 1st. Basically, interactive speaking is replacing this question type. That means for the speaking section, which I know is really important for a lot of you guys, these are the question types: read then speak, interactive speaking, and the speaking sample. So if you are focusing on speaking, be aware that these are the speaking questions going forward from July 1st. And last but not least, read aloud, which is this question right here, is going to be removed from the test from July 1st. Okay, so those were the major changes to the Duolingo English test. There were some smaller changes, mainly to do with time limits. You can watch this video here to learn about that. This is the official Duolingo test video. I'll put a link somewhere down here in the video description for you. That's a great video and it explains all the details for you. Okay, so that's it with the updates. I will be making more videos on these new changes as soon as I have more information. But in the meantime, if you would like to learn more about speaking strategies, then I recommend you watch this video here because it covers my favorite speaking strategy, which is called the PPF method. This allows you to speak for longer and more clearly when you do these speaking questions on the Duolingo test. So I'll see you here right now.